Transmitter device activated. Coordinates set for Earth 2.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Earth 2 podcast, your weekly exploration of the DC Comics multiverse and the legacy of their Golden Age characters through the Silver and the Bronze Ages of comics. I'm Peter Watson.
And I'm David Steele. Welcome back. Thank you for joining us as we make a swift return. Swift, like Mercury, return to the pages of Shazam as we bring you issue 28, published on the 16th of December 1976. We are inching away and out of the bicentennial. I'll have to change the cover photograph on the Facebook page very soon. Peter, would you like to tell everyone about the cover to issue 28 of Shazam?
I'd be delighted. In the top left corner we have, it's not the DC Bullet, we've seen it before, it's a DC TV comic. And you have a picture of an old-fashioned CRT television with Captain Marvel himself bursting from it. My goodness. The Saturday morning superstar with one magic word, Shazam, the world's mightiest mortal. 30 cents, number 28, April, production code 30688, and it's approved by the Comics Code Authority. Now, picture the scene. We're at the Rock of Eternity. It looks like someone's vandalised a bit of the Rock of Eternity because there's writing at the top of it that says, "The world's mightiest villain returns." And standing
literally on the edge of forever.
Yes, is the wizard Shazam, wearing his blue robe with his bald head and his flowing white beard. Yes, he's pressing against the rock for safety. And flying in to attack him is none other than Black Adam, the Golden Age Captain Marvel villain. But fortunately, Captain Marvel is there to fly in and intercept Black Adam's blows. And Captain Marvel saying, "Black Adam, this is impossible. You're dead." And Black Adam says,
"I've come back to destroy you and the old wizard. Then I'll rule the world." Quoting Take That there, which is a nice coincidence because as we record, I'm going to see them on Friday.
Hey, listeners, when are you going to see Take That?
Yes, listeners, are you going to see Take That on the Revived Circus Tour? Please let me know as soon as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, the return of Black Adam after his one appearance in, was it Marvel Family issue 1?
It certainly was, yes, which had a facsimile edition out just a couple of years ago in time with the Black Adam movie, yeah.
And the cover which was homaged on the first issue of Tom Strong that I ever bought.
Ah.
Because it was, I was like, wait a minute, they're homaging the cover of Marvel Family number 1, I'm going to have to go and buy this now. And Tom Strong became a real hot favourite back in 2002, I think it must have been.
A terrific series, yes.
So Marvel Family number 1 was published on 21st of November 1945. So Adam counts as a Golden Age character. Now, in our sort of prep for the podcast many years ago, we had a slight mild debate about whether or not we would do this issue, and we sort of decided that because Adam has had such an increased profile over the last couple of decades, ended up becoming a member of the Justice Society of America, we sort of thought we'd do this one because it's the return of not a really significant Golden Age character because he appeared in one comic, but he then went on to be greatly involved with the JSA, and as the JSA is a huge part of our remits, we thought, we'll do it. And obviously, let's do another issue of Shazam. So, Peter.
Yes.
The obvious question, when did you first encounter Black Adam?
I think it was in the DC Comics Presents issue where he appears with Captain Marvel and obviously they encounter Superman.
Yes. We'll be doing that one, of course, listeners.
Mm-hmm.
Worry not.
What about yourself?
I am pretty sure it was in the pages of Shazam, The New Beginning.
Oh, of course, yes.
The post-crisis reimagining of the Shazam mythos by Roy Thomas and Tom Mandrake. Listeners, if you've never read Roy's introduction to the collected edition of that volume, I would encourage you greatly to do so. I remember encouraging you to read it at one point, and you were quite impressed. I think, was it a lot of blood has gone under a lot of bridges or something? Roy comes across very well. Comes across very happy at how his attempt to reboot Shazam at DC in the late 80s panned out. So yes. That, of course, as Shazam himself said in issue 1 of Shazam New Beginning, that way lies madness, or something like that.
Indeed.
So there. So, Black Adam. Well, we should probably just jump straight in from this point, shouldn't we?
Let's do so.
Opening comic. Oh, good. I get to have a nice little rest because there's lots of captions.
Chosen to receive the powers of 6 ancient elders, young newscaster Billy Batson has only to speak the name of the ancient wizard, Shazam. And in a flash of lightning, he is transformed into the world's mightiest mortal, Captain Marvel.
Yes, and there are drawings of Billy and the Wizard Shazam standing next to a little sign which spells out his name, obviously with Solomon, Hercules, Atlas, Zeus, etc. We all know that very well, but now we don't have to go over it again. And we have a nice opening image which shows Captain Marvel flying above a busy, bustling city. And looking round, he sees Black Adam flying towards him. Now, we should describe Black Adam. His uniform is very similar to Captain Marvel's in that instead of being red, it is black. And he does not have a cape. Apart from that, it's very similar. He has large pointy ears and a very pronounced widow's peak and a definite sort of reddish tint to his skin. In this image, Cap is whirling around and expressing great surprise as he sees Black Adam flying towards him.
Holy moly, it's Black Adam! But you're dead!
I was, but I'm alive again, replies Adam. We get a small scroll caption with the credits for this issue.
Story, E. Nelson Bridwell. Art, Kurt Schaeffenberger. Editor, Joe Orlando.
And then we get some more captioning.
5,000 years ago, Shazam gave his powers to another hero, who proved not to be a real hero at all, but a villain. And now he comes back to battle the world's mightiest mortal in the city of Boston, Massachusetts. The Return of Black Adam.
And I suppose, actually, that caption reminds us that it's a form of legacy, isn't it?
Certainly
He's
is.
another member of the Shazam family, so which means we should probably do an episode on the Lieutenant Marvels at some point. Yes, Massachusetts, of course, #1 smash by the Bee Gees, so if this was the Power of Three, we'll be playing out with that later.
Yes.
Kenny, if you want to press play on the Bee Gees when we finish, that's entirely up to you. And over the page, we basically pick up more or less where issue 27 left off, not with Kid Eternity and Mr. Keeper, but with Dr. Savannah, and some captioning.
How did Black Adam return from the dead? Our story starts at the secret laboratory of Dr. Savannah in Boston.
And we see Dr. Savannah at his big Bertha-like contraption with all the pipes and stuff coming out to the coffin that is adjunct to it, and he's operating levers and twisting controls, punching buttons, and he's laughing to himself and saying, "Heh, this time my reincarnation machine will bring back someone who'll really give Captain Marvel a hard time." And then an asterisk takes you to a caption which reads,
We saw Savannah use his invention in Philadelphia last issue, or indeed the previous episode of our podcast.
Yes, the next panel. The coffin opens up to reveal a gentleman with a reddish tint to his skin, wearing a weird red headdress or coronet sort of thing with a little flap behind out the back. He has gauntlets, wearing red trunks. He sits up as Savannah says, "Ha! I've recreated every atom of his body. Teth Adam lives again." And Teth Adam, for it is he, pipes up with, "Yes, and now I can say, Shazam!"
The magic word brings a stab of mystic lightning, changing the ancient Egyptian into the nefarious Black Adam.
Yes, we see Black Adam standing in the uniform I described, and he says, "At last, when I fought the Marvel family, I was tricked into changing back to Teth Adam, and I died." An asterisk takes us to a caption.
Patience. We'll give you the full story shortly.
Adam continues, "But that can't happen this time." Savannah laughs again. "Heh, only the reincarnation machine can send you back." "Then, if I destroy the machine, nothing can return me whence I came." And with a colossal
Smash!
Adam punches all heck out of the machine, and it breaks and shatters and everything. Savannah clutches his head, crying, "Oh, no! I threatened to destroy Boston unless I was acknowledged as rightful ruler of the universe. That's why I revived you, to help me." And Adam, looking very much like a weird, angular Ron Moody in this panel, strokes his chin and says, "Rightful ruler of the universe. I like that title, so I think I'll take it. After I wreck the city." And he walks out through the door, which is amusing. Did they have doors in ancient Egypt? I'm not sure. He seems to operate the handle quite well. As Savannah stands stewing amidst the wreckage of his machine, he says, "Ah, grr, what an ingrate."
Meanwhile, Billy Batson has arrived in Boston with his friend and mentor, Uncle Dudley.
Yes, and there's a tall, pointy building that looks a little bit like the Tron Gate in Glasgow.
It does, yes. Tron Tower.
If that helps you visualise it. And to my eye, it looks like the Autobot Transformer Ratchet has just driven past. But no, it's their camper van. From inside, we hear Uncle Dudley as he says, "Boston is a beautiful historical city, Billy."
but we know Savannah's somewhere in it. Think I'll get out and look around, see if I can get any clues as to where he is.
And we see Billy standing beside the camper van. He's standing on the road and not on the pavement. Now, come on, this is awful. Schaeffenberger should know better. Uncle Dudley, leaning out the window, says, "Just be careful, Billy. Don't get into any trouble."
Don't fret, Uncle Dudley. What trouble could I possibly get into now?
And Billy marches off. There is a slow dissolve, and then there is a caption.
But just a few blocks away.
We see a whole bunch of people carrying signs, saying things like something against busing. It appears to be a conflict of interest. And as Billy marches up, we can see a school bus, all these people standing around. There's a man in a green suit. There's a blonde girl with a bow in her hair. The man in the green suit points at Billy and says,
Ah, here's a boy who wants to get on the school bus, right?
and Billy says,
Why, actually...
and we see that indeed the man in the green suit and his pals, they're pro-buses, and then we see a bunch of other people who are anti-buses, led by a man with a blue hat and a purple jacket, who says, "You heard him. He wants nothing to do with it. You won't get in that bus, will you, boy?" And he pulls at Billy, who falls off his feet and says,
But I don't.
and then the man in green steps forward and grabs at him, saying,
You must obey the law and take the bus.
"It's a violation of your rights," says the guy in purple, as Billy, being pulled from pillar to post between them, thinks,
Holy moly, they won't even let me tell them I don't go to school here. I'd better say, Shazam!
and there is an enormous and the cartoon lightning bolt strikes, and we see Captain Marvel flying up into the air. The man in the green suit looks around and says,
That bright flash, and now the boy's gone.
of course, Cap is now soaring above all of the protesters, and he's thinking,
They won't look up here for Billy, and I've more important business than getting caught in a debate on busing.
and he flies off. Over the page, we return to the splash image of the story. Interestingly, a caption reads,
And suddenly, this brings us to the scene we witnessed on page 1.
Yep, Cap soaring above Boston, whirls to see Black Adam flying towards him. Cap cries,
Black Adam, but you're dead.
"I was, but I'm alive again." Deja vu, listeners, eh? Cap gets a close-up as he thinks,
5,000 years ago, old Shazam gave Black Adam his powers. He was then banished, but returned to fight the Marvel family. He was just as invulnerable as we were, so we couldn't harm him. But Uncle Dudley pulled a trick.
And the next few panels have the nice rippled flashback effect as we see Captain Marvel, Mary and Freddie Captain Marvel Jr. all standing with Uncle Dudley in his Shazam uniform. Adam's standing there too, and Uncle Dudley is saying, "He's so strong. Let's make him a member of the Marvel family. After all, he got his powers from old Mazam. I mean, Ham Shaz. No, Shem has." To which Adam in the background says, "You spluttering old fool, you mean Shazam."
And the magic lightning changed him back to Teth Adam.
Yes, there is a colossal
BAM!
which is obviously a Scottish word, a Scottish synonym for the word Ned. And indeed, Black Adam reverts to Teth Adam. Captain Marvel steps forward, punching him, saying,
Now, before he can say the word again.
"Shaz!" is all Adam can get out as he's struck. His headdress goes flying, and he falls to the ground. And then, as the Marvel family look on, Captain Marvel's flashback thoughts conclude as he thinks,
Then, since he was over 5,000 years old, he resumed his true age and crumbled to dust.
and he does indeed crumble to dust. Freddie and Mary look completely nonplussed. Dudley looks a little bit unsettled. How moving. We return to the present. Cap is thinking,
Savannah must have used his reincarnation machine to bring Black Adam back. But now I don't have Mary Marvel and Captain Marvel Jr. to help me.
and we see at this point that both Cap and Black Adam are flying quickly towards each other. They collide violently with an enormous
Kapow!
which sends them both flying in different directions. Cap's thoughts continue.
Not that they'd be able to help. Adam can't hurt me, but I can't harm him either.
Our perspective then shifts to Adam, flying down towards probably some very important-looking historical old ship. This is when Peter and I's knowledge of American history will do us proud. Dreading a bit later on, actually. Anyway, Adam flies down towards this big old fancy sailing ship, and he's saying, "Let's make this battle interesting, Captain Marvel. I see just the Thing." And no, he does not see the rocky member of the Fantastic Four he's seen in the ship. The next panel, he's lifting it up into the air, hurling it through the sky, and he says, "You're sort of an Iron Man, so I'll hit you with a wooden ship that bears an iron name." So that's two Marvel heroes referenced in as many panels. Wow.
There we are.
As the ship is hurtled through the air, Captain Marvel again whirls his head to look at it and thinks,
Holy moly! He's throwing the USS Constitution, Old Ironsides, At me!
Cap then catches it in the final panel of this page.
This ship made history in the War of 1812. I mustn't let it be harmed.
Yes, a mention of Let It Be, that's a Beatles reference there as well. Great fun. USS Constitution, all that. Right, listeners, I'm sorry, it goes right over my head, in the words of the Flaming Groovies. Over the page, a small caption reads,
After replacing the ship, Captain Marvel takes the offensive.
and we see Adam standing in the air, floating with his arms folded. His Cap flies up and strikes him, punches him, as Cap says,
This time I'll try my atomic punch.
little pink discharge of energy. Adam isn't fazed, he says, I didn't feel a thing. Let's see if you can survive my mightiest kick. And he kicks with his right foot. Again, there's a little pink discharge of concussive force. His Cap does a stage yawn and says,
Is that the best you can do?
Adam then flies down towards a statue of a man on a horse. And Adam is saying, he could keep me battling him indefinitely. Have to get away. And to do that, I must keep him busy. And he picks up the statue of the man on the horse and throws it at Cap. It shatters, as Cap thinks.
Holy moly! He smashed the famous Paul Revere statue.
Then see Cap flying around to catch all the pieces, and he's thinking,
Have to let Adam go for now. Can't let a single fragment of this statue get lost. Using his immense strength, the world's mightiest mortal pieces the statue together and mends it with the heat of super friction.
yes, we conspicuously do not see him using the heat of super friction, but we see the horse being reassembled, Cap holding some other bits of the statue as he thinks.
So many pieces. It's not easy to find where each one goes.
But he is successful in restoring the statue. He flies off thinking,
That's that. But as for dealing with Black Adam, I'd better get some expert advice.
we see a small crowd of onlookers. There's a man who looks to me like the sort of person who might have played bass for The Fall or something at some point, scratching the back of his head, looking up at the statue. He says to anyone who's listening,
Did you see that? He mended the statue so perfectly. There's not even a crack left.
terrific.
Changing back to Billy, our hero returns to the Whiz van.
Yes, we see Dudley with his little curly top knot and his awful safari suit standing outside the camper van. And standing beside, Billy's obviously opening the door about to get in, but Dudley's saying, Black Adam? Alive? We must get advice from Shazam! As Billy says.
My thoughts exactly. I'll call him on the attorney phone.
And he goes into the vehicle. We see here that the attorney phone is on the dashboard of the minibus. That's useful. Billy has pressed the button and a holographic image of the wizard is floating in the air in front of him. The wizard says, You need help, son?
Yes, great sir. Savannah has brought Black Adam back.
That is indeed a great calamity. I rue the day that I chose Teth Adam to receive the Shazam powers. And then back in flashback narrated territory for the next little while. It was more than 5,000 years ago in Egypt that I summoned Teth Adam, whom I mistakenly believed to be good and pure. And we see Teth Adam bowing before the wizard who sat on a big throne. Wizard with a blue robe, a pointy blue hat. Adam is saying, What do you wish, O Great One? The world needs a powerful champion to combat the evil which infests it. Pronounce my name. Then Adam straightens up and cries, Shazam! And there's an enormous... The cartoon lightning bolt strikes, and over the page we see that Teth Adam has gone to be replaced by the black-garbed Black Adam, who says, The magic lightning has changed me. And the wizard, getting to his feet, says, Yes, a black costume for the hero of the Black Land. And an asterisk takes us to a caption which reads,
The ancient Egyptians called their land Kem or Kemet, the Black Land, because of the black soil of the Nile Basin.
Interesting. The wizard continues, saying, I name you Kem Adam. Go and fight evil in the world. And then the wizard narrates, saying, But Kem Adam, Black Adam, used his new powers for evil. He stormed the palace of the Pharaoh. Yes, we see him rushing towards the Pharaoh, who is holding up a hand to try and hold him back. Guards throwing spears at Adam, but they just break against him as Adam says, Get off that throne, Pharaoh. I claim it for myself. The Pharaoh cries,
Gods, protect me!
But Adam grabs hold of the Pharaoh, putting an arm round his neck. He bends him back, saying, For resisting me, die. With my powers, I should rule the world. And that's another mention of that Take That song, which will probably be my good night song on Friday, for anyone that's got me on Facebook. And yes, this looks like he's actually just broken the Pharaoh's neck. Gosh.
Approved by the Comics Code Authority.
Yes, that's quite strong for a Kurt Schaffenberger story. The wizard's narration continues. But when he had taken the throne, I confronted him. And we see the wizard gesturing and saying, "For abusing your powers, you must be punished. I cannot destroy you, so I banish you to the farthest star in the universe." And he gestures, and we see Adam flying backwards up into the air. Returning to the present, holographic Shazam head says to Billy, "As you know, it took him 5,000 years to fly back to Earth, where Dudley tricked him into saying my name." Billy scratches his head and says for us all,
One thing puzzles me. Solomon, Hercules, and Achilles hadn't been born 5,000 years ago. So how could Black Adam get their powers?
And then we see Shazam on the Rock of Eternity. And this full page panel shows the wizard standing next to huge rendering of Shazam, all spelt out, and beside it, the names. Well, actually, I should probably give you this bit of the wizard's dialogue first, as he says, "These gods of Egypt gave their powers to Black Adam. Would that I could withdraw the powers now, but it cannot be." And we see that Shu gave him stamina. He was the god of air and supporter of sky. Hershef, or Hershif, gave him strength, also apparently pronounced Harsaphes, I think that says. The Egyptian Hercules, that's interesting. Amon gave him power. He was the king of the gods. Zethui, open brackets, Thoth, I've heard of him. He provided wisdom, as the god of wisdom. Anpu, a.k.a. Anubis, we've all heard of him, provided speed for Black Adam. He was the conductor of the dead. And finally, Adam got courage from Menthu, open brackets, we see Mont, who was the god of war. With all this in mind, Shazam then goes on to say, "Yet there is a way to defeat him, Billy, and it lies in the mind."
Meantime, let's see what Black Adam is up to at Savannah's lab.
Yes, they're obviously having a confab. Hand on the hip, Savannah's saying, "So you're back, eh? Haven't you conquered the world yet? You've had half an hour." And a thoughtful Adam replies, "Quiet, little man. I'm trying to think of a way to defeat Captain Marvel." "Why not go after the one who created him and avenge yourself on that old man for banishing you?" "Of course. But where can I find the old wizard?" "He has a palace on the Rock of Eternity. You can fly there by going faster than light." And Adam says, "Good, I'll do it." And he flies out the open window. Savannah looks delighted, scrunches up his eyes, teeth on display. Rubbing his hands together, he thinks, "Heh, the fool. If he destroys Shazam, he may wipe out Captain Marvel's powers, but he'll raise his own too. Try to steal the universe from me, will he?"
And as the ebon-clad evildoer takes to the sky...
Yes, we're back at the camper van. Dudley still standing outside, Billy leaving the vehicle, thinking to himself,
In the mind. What did Shazam mean by that?
But then we see that Dudley's pointing up at the sky and he says, "Look, Billy, there's Black Adam again." And we see Adam flying whoosh overhead as Billy looks up and cries,
Holy moly! Shazam! Badoo!
As Captain Marvel takes to the air flying after Adam, he thinks.
Catching him won't be easy. He's speeding up.
And as they fly over Boston, higher up into the sky, with Captain Pursuit, he thinks,
Holy moly! We're going faster than light. We're being hurled out of the normal universe and into eternity.
Yes, and then we see them flying through the darkness of space as Cap draws closer to Adam and thinks,
Now I understand. He's heading for the Rock of Eternity at the exact center of space and time.
Yes, and we see the rock looming in the void. Cap continues,
He must want revenge on the old wizard. But I intend to see you don't get it, mister. Whoa!
he says as he catches up to Adam and grabs him by the left leg. He then starts to swing him around in the next panel, saying,
Let's see how far I can throw you, Adam.
And he then releases Adam, who hasn't said a word at this point, which I think is odd. Adam goes flying again through the void of eternity as Cap looks after him and says,
Oops, didn't gauge the release properly. He's headed in the wrong direction.
Wrong direction, that's a good name for a boy band, isn't it?
As Captain Marvel follows the hurtling figure...
Yes, we see Adam splashing into some water and Cap flying down over some old-school-looking sailing ships as Cap realises...
Holy moly! He landed in Boston Harbour, over 200 years in the past.
And flying down closer, we see a couple of rowing boats with all sorts of people inside, people obviously meant to be Native Americans. Cap flying down says,
Those boats filled with fake Indians. This is the night of December 16th, 1773, the Boston Tea Party.
Now that's interesting, obviously, because the comic was published on the 16th of December.
Uh-huh.
That's a nice coincidence, isn't it?
Certainly is, yes.
I have to say, listeners, I know nothing about the Boston Tea Party. Ross, you'll be shaking your head at me. Steve, you will be too. I am sorry. The only thing I've ever heard mention of the Boston Tea Party was, I think Barbara says it in one of the later episodes of the Dalek Invasion of Earth. Doesn't she say that to the Black Dalek to try and confuse him? Demonstrating that she's a history teacher, listeners.
There we are.
Peter, what do you know of the Boston Tea Party? Be honest.
Be honest, I know nothing.
There we go.
There we go,
So,
yes.
we look forward to either looking it up on Wikipedia ourselves or someone posting a comment on the Facebook page or the Instagram and telling us.
Lots of tea was thrown into the harbour, that's all I know, as a protest against the English.
Oh, really?
I think that was it.
Interesting. What a waste of tea. Goodness me,
I know.
honestly.
That's why they all drink coffee. It was a protest formed by Starbucks, that's what I'm saying.
Yes, coming soon, David and Peter's Battlestar Galactica rewatch podcast. Anyway, Adam has jumped out of the water and landed on one of the vessels, and Cap adds to my confusion as he flies down and says,
But my concern is Black Adam. He's flying to one of the tea ships.
Standing on the deck of the boat, Black Adam has lifted up a case of tea and hurled it towards Cap, saying, Curse you, Captain Marvel, I'll get you yet.
The jails are full of characters who said that.
And as he says this, the tea chest shatters against his powerful chest. We can see that Adam is hurling more cases up towards him as Cap says,
Keep it up, Adam. You're only helping the colonists by destroying the chests of tea before they get a chance to do it.
Adam then flies up towards Cap. Punching him, he says, Then I'll smash you myself. Cap grabs Adam, flips him over himself, so he flies back around, with Cap saying,
Haven't you learned yet that mere brute strength can't beat me?
But Adam loops around, flying behind Cap. He grabs him by the ankles, saying, Then I must do as you did to me and take you by surprise. And having got hold of Captain Marvel, he hurls him into the sky, saying, Let's see how far I can throw you. And as Cap disappears from view, Adam puts a hand up to his eyes to focus and follow him, and he says, Ha! He's out of sight already. I tossed him further than I expected. And then we see, flying straight back in the next panel, Cap collides with Adam from behind. Cap saying,
Yes, I've got to hand it to you, Adam. You threw me clear around the world.
Gosh, as Cap collides with Black Adam can only cry, Woof! Then he gets another thoughtful close-up, top of the next page, as he thinks to himself, I'll never beat him this way. I must use cunning. Ah, I have it. He flies towards Cap, colliding with him. He cries, Shazam!
The magic name is answered by a crackle of lightning, a peal of thunder, but the ultra-fast Black Adam is no longer there.
Yes, he's managed to get his speed back, so he's moved out of the way and the lightning bolt has struck Cap. Adam thinks triumphantly, Perfect! It hit Captain Marvel instead of me. And then we see, because this has happened, it's Billy Batson now plummeting down towards the sea. Billy cries,
Holy moly, I'm falling. Have to say,
but he cuts off because Adam has flown down and shoved a hand over Billy's mouth. Adam's saying, No, you don't. I have special plans for you.
Landing in one of the ships, Black Adam gets some rope to bind and gag Billy.
Yes, we see Billy lying down. He's been tied at the ankles. He's got a rope gagging him, and Adam is securing his wrists now as he says, I'll have you trussed up in a moment. Have to hurry. There's a boatload of men approaching this ship. And then we see the next panel. Adam's flown up into the air, carrying Billy, and he's dropped him into the harbour. Oh my goodness! Adam says, Down you go, to drown 2 centuries before your time. Ha 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 ha! We then cut underwater, see Billy plummeting through the depths as he thinks,
Can't breathe. Have to try and get to the surface. If only I can swim with these ropes binding me.
And he's managed to flip himself around. Some fish are floating past in the background as Billy manages to manoeuvre himself so that he's approaching the surface again. He's thinking,
Moving up. If only I can hold out.
And then his head breaks the water.
Ah,
And utterly soaked, he thinks to himself,
air. But unless I can get some help, I'll sink again.
Help, that's another Beatles reference.
And the needed help is there.
Yes, we see it's another boat full of stereotypical-looking Native American Indians with feathered headdresses and buckskin clothes, and one chap is helping Billy out of the water, saying,
A lad in strange clothing. It appears someone tried to drown him.
And this helpful fellow then goes on to untie the ropes, which lets Billy say,
Thanks, sir. Aye.
But he's interrupted because we can see that all the cartoon red Indians are climbing out of the rowing boat onto the side of one of the larger vessels, and one of the lads who's got a pretty cool face tattoo says, "Hurry, Paul. Did you bring a silver teapot for our little party?" And Paul replies,
"Since they passed the tea tax, I only make coffee pots."
"What the heck is going on?" I've no idea. Maybe Kelly could start another podcast on facts of American history and she could tell us about the Boston Tea Party. Billy, still looking soaked, he looks around and we see one of the large vessels, people on top, on the deck, throwing cases of tea over the side. As Billy looks on and thinks,
"A silversmith named Paul? That could only be Paul Revere. As Captain Marvel, I saved his statue, and now he's saved me."
"Well, that was helpful. I'm glad that was spelt out for us." Billy then cries, finally,
"Shazam!"
There is an enormous
Blam!
and a fantastic cartoon lightning bolt as Captain Marvel again is back. We see him flying through the void as the caption reads,
"Instantly, the world's mightiest mortal flashes to the Rock of Eternity."
Yes, we see the peak of the rock, Cap flying towards it, thinking,
I thought sure he'd come back to the Rock.
And as he flies up towards the rock, we see the wizard waving in Cap's general direction, saying, "Return to 1976, my son. That is where you will find Black Adam,"
"Thank you, great sir."
says Cap as he flies off.
"And in the present, Adam has other prey in mind."
Yes, we see Adam flying towards Uncle Dudley, who is still standing outside the Shazam RV. He hasn't moved for the whole story. Goodness me. Adam flies down towards Dudley, and he's thinking, "I finally realise why Savannah wanted me to finish Shazam. He hoped to beat me, but instead I'll be avenged on the one who tricked me before." He marched up to Dudley now, saying, "Now, you old fox, I'll have my revenge." And Dudley, looking utterly rattled, says, "Revenge? I don't quite understand." As Adam approaches, Captain Marvel flies in, thinking,
"There's Adam now, with Uncle. I should have realised he'd be after Dudley."
and we see Adam pointing at Dudley. And Adam says, "Don't feign ignorance. You know perfectly well you trapped me." "You must be mistaken. I don't recall seeing you before." And Adam, he's furious, incandescent, making fists. He rants and says, "You certainly did. You tricked me into saying Shazam." "You mean like that?" says Dudley, as with a balloon. The lightning bolt strikes. Adam is struck, and he changes back to Teth Adam. He cries, "Great set! He did it again." Cap has landed on the pavement behind Adam and thinks,
"Have to land this punch just right."
Yes, Adam starts to say, but he's interrupted because Cap strikes him with a fantastic left uppercut, which sends Adam up into the air, knocking off his poor headdress again, as Cap says,
"That should do it."
And we then see Teth Adam sitting on the ground, little stars circling around his head. As he rubs his poor battered bonds, he says, "What hit me? Come to think of it, who am I?" As Cap says,
"It worked. My amnesia punch took away his memory. He can't say the magic word if he can't remember it."
And then, out of nowhere, a young man in a sort of orange suit has appeared, carrying a piece of paper. He walks up to Captain Marvel and says,
"Captain Marvel, somebody asked me to give you this note."
And we see Cap reading the note in the final panel of the story, and he says,
"It's from Savannah. He says he's leaving Boston, but will challenge me again in Buffalo. And he has special plans for Niagara Falls."
And matters conclude with, you guessed it, a caption.
"And since those plans involve the mighty Eyeback and Aunt Minerva, you won't want to miss the next issue. On sale second week in February."
Yes, unfortunately, kids, we won't be doing issue 29. But if you grab your copy of Volume 2 of Shazam, the World's Mightiest Mortal, you can read it yourself in advance of us doing issue 30.
Uh-huh.
So, the return of Black Adam. Gosh.
Yes. The god that he got his wisdom from certainly is lacking. He's not got much wisdom, I'll be honest.
Falling for the same thing again.
Yes, It was great to see Savannah use his reincarnation machine to bring him back.
Yes.
That was a wonderful bit of continuity.
Yeah, because obviously we had the discussion last time about whether or not this meant they were real or not, and he certainly seems quite... I mean, he doesn't... It's interesting he doesn't automatically turn back to dust after Billy punches him.
Yeah.
After Cap punches him, sorry, but you know what I mean. That's interesting, because we decided they were reanimated rather than just brought forward through time, didn't we?
Yes, they were basically recreations. Yeah, so basically like the Star Trek transporter, basically.
Logopolis, yes.
They were buffered. Savannah had all their patterns on file.
Wow.
And could create any of them.
That's fascinating. Yes, it's very interesting that Adam then goes on to smash the machine up, because there could have been some real potential there for some more comedy resurrections.
Here's a question on the theme of resurrection.
Go for it.
Could Savannah then create a second Adam, and then a third one, and then a fourth one?
That's interesting. I don't know. No, you're right. Yeah, I mean, obviously, the answer to that now is no, because Adam's broken the machine, but that's really interesting. Could he then have created an army of Black Adams for Cap to fight? And then we would have had some whole existential moment when they all shouted at each other and one of them said, "I'm Adam, I got the powers from Shazam." And then he would have said Shazam and turned to Adam and turned to dust and then something, yes. I don't know. When we write our DC comic.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's a really interesting point. They weren't subtle in the mission statement of educating everyone about American history, were they?
No, I know. We had that the last time as well, but this felt even more rammed down your throat.
Yes.
Not against it. It was very interesting, but very fun.
Yeah. I mean, it felt that those sequences when we, unexpectedly, when we went back 200 years in time, I mean, that was great. Taking full advantage of the Rock of Eternity existing.
Yes.
I'm miming for the benefit of the YouTube viewers, listeners, that the Rock of Eternity exists in all times and places. I love the fact that when he threw Adam in the wrong direction, it sent him back in time. That was genius.
Yes.
Because all that little sequence felt like we'd suddenly fallen into an episode of The Time Tunnel.
yeah, without a doubt.
My favourite of the Urban Allen series. And I really enjoyed that little thing. And the call back to Paul Revere's statue having been there earlier on and stuff, and then actually seeing him back in time. I was really quite charmed by that.
Yeah.
That was a very Nelson sort of thing to do, I felt.
Yeah, absolutely. It was very clever to have it be the statue of the same person.
Yeah.
So that was good. Just a nice bit of continuity, a nice bit of reference, and a nice bit of history for the reader.
Yes.
Which is great fun. The statue actually reminded me of the Wellington statue that we have in Glasgow, and I'm surprised there wasn't a traffic cone on its head.
A traffic cone on his napper.
As there is always.
Listeners, if we have any listeners in Boston, we extend the challenge. Go and stick a traffic cone on the head of your Paul Revere statue, take a photograph of it and post it on our socials, and then we will share it. Challenge extended, but don't come crying to me if you get arrested for vandalism.
That is the traditional look of our Duke of Wellington statue here in Glasgow, so yes. We're not just pulling this out of nowhere. Yes. Honest gov. There's your Scottish history lesson there, folks, just as we have our American history lesson. So that was good.
Absolutely. It's interesting because the Adam thing, it's kind of unresolved at the end of it. He's punished him and changed it back to Teth Adam, but as I say, we didn't see him return to dust. What happens? Does Teth Adam then get incarcerated? How quickly, he's forgotten, he's lost his memory. As we said at the top of the episode, obviously, we know that Adam will reappear in the future. We'll have to pay attention when that happens and see if any of this story gets referred to.
Yes.
Interesting. I'm actually quite looking forward to the World's Finest issues that we'll be reading some Shazam stories from. There's quite a few of them we'll be doing, actually.
Yes.
As the crow flies.
Some terrific artwork in that.
Lots of fun. Logan on standby, etc. I don't really have too much else to add. I love Kurt Schaffenberger's artwork.
Yeah, without a doubt.
It's beautiful. I mean, it's cartoony, obviously, but it's the perfect synergy with E. Nelson Bridwell. Perfect synergy for this sort of story.
Yeah.
Works really, really well.
It's interesting as well that about a third of this story is basically told in flashback.
Yeah.
Not one but two in the big flashbacks extended.
Yeah, quite a lot. That's right. That's true.
Yeah. Including, as you said, the full page splash explaining how Adam got his powers, which is a nice bit of continuity there.
Yes, we'll get a tweet out of that whole page, I'm sure. Another embarrassment of Richie's as far as trying to pick a small number of panels to put on Instagram, etc. Yeah, I enjoyed this. I mean, we're in a little patch where we're doing quite a few issues of Shazam, quite close together, after not doing too many before, so it's good to do them. What do you think of my Dwayne Johnson impression?
It was uncanny. It was like he was in the room.
Thank you.
Yes.
We did send him a DM on Instagram, listeners, but he didn't get back to us. Yeah, we should probably talk about the Black Adam's legacy beyond.
Yes.
Obviously, we said he came back and he was folded into the continuity properly in Shazam: A New Beginning as far as being part of Billy's origin. And then I remember him turning up in an issue of Suicide Squad, and then he became a member of the Justice Society for a couple of years.
Yeah, quite.
And was quite involved in storylines crossing over back and forth with Hawkman and all the the Kandak stuff, and I remember being a little bit of the focus of the 52 weekly series and all that sort of thing. There was a recent, in the David and Peter sense of recent, there was a recent 12-issue mini-series, and there was a period when it really seemed like they were trying to hype him to be the next big thing, because obviously the Dwayne Johnson Black Adam movie was released in October 2022. I saw it twice on opening day, listeners.
Of course you would. Of course you would.
Yeah, well, it's not wrong. I quite often see superhero movies and twice in the day they come out if I've got time. Because I remember John and I had done a load in at St. Luke's, quite an early one, and then there was enough time for me to go and see the film twice and then go back to the loadout, and I loved it.
Of course you did.
Did you know it was actually Dwayne Johnson's biggest opening weekend of his career at that point?
There we are.
That movie.
Mm-hmm. Exciting.
And it was a bit of a false dawn, because there was this whole sort of transition of power and charge of the DC films, because obviously, there'd been Justice League, and then the Wonder Woman sequel had been sort of kneecapped by COVID and stuff like that, and there were reshoots, massive reshoots on The Flash and all this sort of thing. And in between all the changes of power at the head of Warner Brothers, Dwayne himself made a bit of a play to try and get, kind of restore the Snyderverse himself almost. Yeah. Because one of the delightful things about the Black Adam movie was, as well as having James Bond playing Dr. Fate, for crying out loud, and the Fonz playing Al Pratt, for crying out loud, Henry Cavill turned up as Superman at the end, and this echoed the post-credits of the DC Super Pets film earlier in the year when Black Adam had turned up, and they really honestly, someone genuinely honestly thought Black Adam was going to be bigger than hula hoops. I really enjoyed the Black Adam movie. It was bizarre because it had the same lad who played the Wizard in the Shazam movies appearing as the Wizard, but there was no mention or sign of Zachary Levi or Asher Angel. It was bizarre. No. And then they seemed to be setting Adam up to fight Superman rather than fighting Captain Marvel. And then you got Shazam 2 coming out, quite soon after this, and there was no mention of Black Adam
in it. No.
And that one, and it was, I remember sort of thinking, right, okay, are we going to get Black Adam versus Superman and then Shazam 3 when they'll meet? And of course it'll never happen because James Gunn took over and Black Adam didn't break even at the box office, and Shazam 2 fell at the first hurdle, and it was all very sad. I mean, I was not the biggest fan of the Snyder approach. I'm on record, obviously, for saying how much I loathed Dawn of Justice.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I remember I've told this before, but Peter sort of said it was like the Spectre had burst into the shop. in my rage after seeing that film. But I was kind of on board. I'd bought into the whole narrative because I enjoyed the Aquaman film. I thought Gal Gadot was brilliantly cast. I really enjoyed the Flash movie.
Flash is an excellent movie, yeah.
I enjoyed most of it. I felt quite sorry for the Snyderverse in a way, the way it all sort of petered out, because if you pardon the pun, because there was a lot of potential there. And obviously, Black Adam, as well as Dr. Fate, featured Hawkman and Cyclone and Atom Smasher, and that was just joke. When else are you going to see Hawkman and Dr. Fate in a movie?
Exactly.
It was strange times.
And Cyclone.
Yes, exactly. Maxine Uncle. Yeah, on the socials this week, check out all of the Black Adam movie-related tat that I bought cheap after the film bombed that I'll post one day this week. That'll give you a laugh.
Yeah, very exciting.
Listeners, what did you think of the Black Adam movie? Please write in and let me know. I'd be delighted to hear. Shall we jump to the contemporary correspondence?
Let's do so, yes.
Wonderful.
So on to issue 30 for Shazam Mail. And the first letter says,
Dear Shazam, thank you for a very welcome return of the bad side of the Marvel family. The reincarnation machine was a good way to bring Black Adam into the story, although you'd think Savannah would have learned his lesson after Attila the Hun and Benedict Arnold. You would. The fight scenes were really funny. I began to doubt the wisdom of Zuti when Black Adam was outsmarted by Savannah and then by Dudley, open brackets. Did you make up all those Egyptian gods? One more question. How did Black Adam plan to destroy Shazam? Isn't he already dead? That's from Robert McEwen, Miami, Florida.
And editorial response says, but does Adam know Shazam is dead? He died while the villain was out in space. Savannah may have figured he'd find a way, though after all, old Thaddeus B once came close to wiping out Shazam's ethereal form. And I did not invent those Egyptian gods. In fact, Kurt Schaffenberger's pics of them were based on the depictions in ancient Egyptian art.
Gosh,
says E. Nelson Bridwell. Second letter says, Dear people, I've written to plead a case for Uncle Marvel. Twice Uncle Dudley has saved the Marvel family from the menace of Black Adam, and yet some people think he's silly. I really like all the Marvels equally well, which is why I'm so mad seeing only Cap in the last few issues. But if I had to pick a favourite, I'd probably wind up, strange as it sounds, picking Unc. I like the old faker from Jamaica, maybe because the other Marvels like him, and I don't like seeing only Dudley. Remember, it's the Marvel family. Please show them all. And that's from question mark from New York, New York.
It's an interesting point now before I get to editorial response, but obviously the comic at this point is formatted after the TV show, which was just Billy and Mentor, so
yeah,
that's probably why. But editorial response, my apologies, I couldn't make out your signature. That tells you how you're always supposed to print your name after you sign. Anyway, oh well, some people have had trouble with mine too. Anyway, I hope you liked Unk Last-ish and the Marvel family this time around, and that's a mild spoiler for issue 30. The next letter reads, Dear Joe, Shazam 28 was out of sight. With each new issue, it gets better and better. Kurt Schaffenberger has got to be the best artist for Captain Marvel. I was glad Bridwell didn't fully copy the TV version. Cap was made to be a serious crime fighter. It was about time Black Adam returned. It was done believably, and I was happy he didn't crumble to dust this time because he deserves a better fate than that. Since Dudley became Billy's mentor, he is more interesting to me. Bring the other Marvel family members into future issues. Now say please, come on. It was about time you told us from which Egyptian gods Black Adam derived his powers. And you should use the other Earth S heroes in future issues. And that letter is from Charles David Haskell, also from New York, New York.
Don't be surprised if we bring one of the Golden Age Earth S heroes into the story next issue. One we did not use in the Justice League team-up last year, says Nelson.
Oh, yes, that's obviously a reference to what's coming in issue 31 in a few months' time. Interesting.
And the final letter says, Dear friends, although this is a letter to Shazam Mail, I want to preface my comments with some words of praise for this week's entire DC lineup. It seems that every issue I bought was well presented, entertaining, thoroughly enjoyable. I'm getting dangerously close to 30 and suppose myself to be a bit more discriminating than your average reader. But I might just as well have been 12 again for all the fun I had. Thank you for a good week's reading. It was the current issue of Shazam that was by far the most fun to read. I'll admit to a touch of bias. Captain Marvel is my favourite of all comic characters. Still, some 35 years of Cap readers probably share my bias. Many of the new story elements are very like the original 1940s adventures. Cap's on-the-road assignments parallel his visits of 3 decades ago. Landmarks are pointed out in a travelogue style. Real citizens are often depicted. The action is rather precisely located, unlike the setting of the TV stories. Savannah is still around, though I wouldn't mind him skipping an issue or two. Just as important, the style of Captain Marvel has remained unchanged. I'll qualify that. For me, Schaffenberger's current portrayal is definitive. So for all that, Shazam issue 28 was rather like the preceding 2, but I really enjoyed them as well. Issue 28 was a bit better, however. For one thing, Cap visited the hub of the universe, and I'm not referring to the Rock of Eternity. Boston, Massachusetts. I'm not as chauvinistic as that statement makes me appear. I'm from Western Massachusetts, frequently mistaken by the East as a vassal state. Boston is one of my favourite cities, nevertheless. The travelogue panels were well illustrated. Even the cameo about busing, while a bit silly, was interesting, even clever. And it went right over our heads.
Yes, yes. Listeners, if you can fill us in on that, please do so.
Back to the letter. I rather liked the villain of the piece too. Black Adam's resurrection was more credible than Mr. Mind's. I've long felt that the Egyptian was the best conceived of the Marvel villains, and the least objectionable of the Marvel lookalikes. I do want to see more of Adam, notwithstanding the effects of Cap's ridiculous amnesia punch. Points were scored by you in several other ways. The flashbacks to early Egypt, the Ur-Shazam pantheon of Egyptian gods, the interplay between Savannah and Adam, the Rock of Eternity to Boston Tea Party sequence. This was a very fine issue of Shazam. Before 1972, I'd never have expected to see Captain Marvel in action again, and now he's on TV and in a series of comic mag adventures that is finally doing him proud. By all means, keep it up. And that's from Ross Jerry from Greenfield, Massachusetts.
Editor responds very simply, it's letters like this that make a writer's day. If the sales figures for that issue are as good as the letters, wow! And that's from E. Nelson Bridwell. Fantastic.
So that's what the readers thought at the time. You've heard what we thought of it now, but what do you think about it? Why don't you write to us and let us know? You can email us at theearth2podcast@gmail.com. Make sure you follow us on social media because we're putting up lots of lovely bonus material for this and, of course, every episode. On Facebook, Instagram and Blue Sky, we're at the Earth 2 Podcast, and on Twitter, we're at podcast_Earth2. And it is, of course, say it with me,
the number 2 for all of our socials. Yes, as I always say at this point, if you're enjoying what we're doing, please consider going to wherever it is you receive your podcast and leaving us a positive review, or via our Linktree, finding your way to our coffee page or our comic page and buying Peter the price of a beverage, which I'm sure he would appreciate. Yes, exciting to do another issue of Shazam. I'm looking forward very much to doing the next issue. Yeah, we're doing issue 30. That's the next one we'll do. Yes, so listeners, if you don't have a copy of that, go and track one down.
Yay.
And have a look at the cover and think, oh. So there, yes, on that bombshell.
Yes, I've been Peter.
And I've been David. Take care, everyone. We'll see you again very soon on
The Earth 2 Podcast.
Transmatter cube activated. Return coordinates set for Earth Prime.